Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Do you know we have met before?
Have we?
We have.
Where?
It was about 10... Well, exactly. It was where I'm from. Where in Hertfordshire.
Was it?
It was... You live in where too? Oh, well, hold on. We'll come to you in a second. Why are you here? Why Reform UK, Julie?
Nigel is the only man that can fix our country. That's a fact. We're broken. I have...
There we are. Support for that, yes.
We are broken, and we need Nigel. He needs to be PM. I have supported Nigel from way, way back in the UKIP days because he's so intelligent, because he's a straight talker. I'm very proud to call him my friend now, and we need him. We need him. This country needs him.
Well, look, lots of people will agree with that sentiment. Yes, they do. Applause again. Very good. What's really interesting just having this conversation with you, Jodie, is because I know you are a celebrity. I've known you for a while as well. But not many people are prepared to go out there and say that they support reform. They'll say it privately. I've met many people that say it in private, in the green rooms of TV studios and all the rest of it. They do support Nigel. They do support reform. But you've actually come out to say it, which I think is obviously a brave thing to do because in a very toxic political climate at times, that's very difficult. So why have you gone that extra mile to be so public? And how can you encourage your celebrity A-listers to do the same?
Well, I've always been known for being outspoken and for being honest. What you see is what you get with me. And I never hide anything, any parts of myself. So if I love something, everybody knows about it. And
we love you for it.
So. I think you should stand up for what you believe in. And I thoroughly support Nigel. I love Nigel. He's a great guy, on a personal level as well as in his job. He's just an all-round great guy. I've got a lot of time for him, and I think I wouldn't be true to myself if I didn't come out and say that, because I do believe that. Yeah.
Well, I think you've said it perfectly well there. Ladies and gentlemen, Jodie Marsh. Amazing stuff there. Well, I only came out for a quick afternoon in Thurrock. Who'd have thought that I'd be seeing Jodie Marsh and the great people of Thurrock this evening? But we've got a couple of other great people that are coming up now. Two councillors, names that you might know of. Essex royalty, I think, when it comes to councillor status. We're going to have a quick chat with them now. I think you might know who they both are. Please, can I get a round of applause and a welcome to this wonderful stage here at the Circus Tavern. It is Councillor Jamie McIver and Annie May O'Neill. Here we go. Round of applause. Please take a seat. Annie May O'Neill, Jamie McIver. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you very much, and welcome to Thurrock.
Thank you. Hello, everybody.
Now, it won't go unnoticed that you are two younger members of Probably Reform UK and councillors. So I want to thank you, obviously, also for putting your head above the parapet and for standing where you do. Jamie, I'll start with you. You were the first Reform Essex councillor in the in the county. Is that right?
That is correct. But I have a very good feeling that I won't for much longer be the one and only Reform Essex County Councillor, because I've got a funny feeling I'm going to be in some good company after May.
Most definitely.
Well, a lot of people in the room agree with that. And you're also, if I can say, the Director of Local Government at Reform UK HQ. So you will see all there is about local government. You'll know what needs to be fixed. You'll know where the problems are. Why is it so important that people, A, stand as candidates, but B, get involved in local government in particular, because there are so many issues there? What do you see on a day-to-day basis that you think needs to be fixed?
You're right, Charlie, and to be brutally honest with you, I am totally inspired by the hundreds of reform councillors I have. It is a privilege to work with hundreds and hundreds of patriots who are fixing their communities across the country, whether it's Lancashire, Kent, Lincolnshire. I could list all of our incredible councils. And you know what? Proof's in the pudding. Not only have we got, and by the way, everybody, have you seen the bar chart? Lowest council tax. I mean, all those idiots.
Really, a round of applause for that.
All those people that said we didn't know what we were doing this time last year, we've proved them all wrong. The Tories have got egg on their faces. The Labour Party, well, the Labour Party have always had egg on their faces. But we have proven with our amazing financial plans that we've done for our councils, we've gone in, we've found the waste, we've got rid of all that duplication, we've got rid of it. Our councils in turquoise territories, when you have a reform, majority-controlled council, it is efficiently run and the proof's in the pudding, but also frontline services are getting better. Ofsted actually said in their report in Staffordshire, since Reform UK have taken control of Staffordshire County Council, outcomes are looking like they're going to be better. In Leicestershire, we've halved the wait time for parents waiting for ECHPs with SEND children. I could go on and on and on. In Derbyshire, the backlog of potholes, gone. This is what we will be able to deliver in so many other more councils in May. My message to the people of this amazing country, the county of Essex too, don't just elect a few reform councillors, elect a majority-controlled reform council and we will fix it.
We will.
Sentiments that I think a lot of people can get behind there. And so my final question to you, Jamie, though, is because you mentioned the Conservatives there, and I know that you used to be one, you used to support the Conservative Party. And when we have got the majority of people, as I say, in this room, who are local residents, who might have voted Tory before, that might be looking to the Reform Party today to see what is on offer, what is your message to people here who, as I say, they're not members, they're just residents? Why should they, if they voted Conservative before, why should they now turn to reform?
The Tories sold a lie. The Tories said they believed in fiscal responsibility. In fact, they left most of the councils we took over insolvent. The Tories said they loved this country. Instead, they left the borders wide open and imported, and some secretly, some of the most vile people into our country who've gone on to do horrific things, like in Epping Forest, where I'm from. The Tories also have gone around pretending to be a party that believes in the union of our country and pretended to be a patriotic party. They're not. What the Conservative Party have done is a disgrace, what they've done to our country. But the people that voted Conservative, they are not bad people, and many of them will be in this room. My family, myself, we've all voted Conservative, many of us. The people that voted Conservative were sold a lie. But what reform stands for is honesty, for transparency. And the best thing I've ever done in my short time on this planet so far was leave the Conservative Party and join Reform UK, because I feel like I'm home. I'm in a party that genuinely believes in Brexit. But more importantly, with Nigel Farage as the leader of this party, we have a man that loves this country, the only person we can trust to lead this country into better, brighter days. There is hope out there, and my message to any Conservative voter, you don't need to apologise for the mess that you've made by voting Conservative, but you can help fix this broken country by voting Reform.
Absolutely.
Well, sentiments I think lots of people in this room share. You talked there about Epping Forest, but there is also, which obviously has its problems that we all know about, there was another issue that many people in this room will know all too well about, and that is the Bell Hotel, which, Annie,
yes.
is in your patch. You are the town councillor for Ongar, but you...
I'm running as a county councillor for Epping and Faden Boys. Yes, so that's the Bell Hotel area. Can we get a round of applause for that?
And tell us a little bit about yourself, Annie, because you were telling me backstage earlier on you're a law student.
Yes.
So you see all the things that happen in, for example, in universities, where we're talking about clamping down on free speech, which is obviously an issue. But you are obviously young. You're wanting to stand for county council. You are currently a town council. Tell us everything about that. Why did you decide that Reform UK is the vehicle for the change that you, as a student, want to see?
Well, I frankly had enough of apologising for being British. I found that every time I went into university, I had to back down to diversity, inclusion, making sure everyone else was welcome other than myself. And I am proud to fly my flag, and I'm glad every single person in this place here today is proud to fly that flag too.
I fear there's not going to be much disagreement in the room tonight, is there?
But apart from that, so I am a law student, so obviously we learn all about the European Convention of Human Rights, something that Reform is strong on leaving. This is, for people that don't know, a convention that basically prioritises foreign judges on our laws in the UK. And these are people, you know, protected. So, for instance, an illegal immigrant who has committed a sexual assault towards a young female, as we had in Epping, he would be protected by Article 8, a private life, as he would be prevented from being sent home due to him having the right to a life here. And if he was sent back to Ethiopia, he'd be open for prosecution. And I think that's terrible. Why are we prioritising people before our own? And that's why I standed for Reform, because Nigel Farage and everybody here tonight and everybody that represents them stands up for British people.
You're absolutely right. And I think you've got a few fans behind me here. I think you've got a few friends family in.
Charlie, I must say,
Sure.
Annie is absolutely amazing. She's going to be a first-class county councillor. But this is a message to everybody out there not sure if they want to go canvassing yet. My mum knocked on Annie's door, canvassing in Ongar, and look who's out there. So to my message to everyone in this room that's a member, that's a candidate, go and knock on doors. Let's find some amazing people to join our party. We're just at the beginning.
Yes, definitely, most 100%. I think as well, you know, obviously younger people are more seen to be indoctrinated by the left, but I can gladly say a lot of my university friends do vote for Reform because they see the change too. You know, we see as university students that we're being piled with left-wing indoctrination, left, right and centre, and I don't think that's right. Why are we not learning about British values in school? Why is it that we're now stopping Christmas and making it into, you know, December breaks, or Easter's now being seen as, you know, spring break? That's not fair, you know?
I think, no, you're absolutely right. Look, everybody in this hall seems to be supportive of what you're saying.
Yes.
I don't blame them at all. You two have been great. You've talked all about all kinds of things, from campaigning to standing, why it's important to get involved in local government. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Jamie McIver and Annie Mae O'Neill. But there is someone else who knows all too well about campaigning and how to motivate the members and get everybody out to vote for Reform, to stand for Reform, to get a Reform UK government, whether it's in Westminster or at these local elections. There is one man leading that charge. It is the Bull himself, Dr. David Bull.
Thank you. Hello, good evening. Charlie, good evening. Thank you very much. We go back a very long way. I think many people know this from our Talk TV days when I got you onto Weekend Breakfast. It's been a great relationship. And can I say, ladies and gentlemen, what a great job he has done tonight, don't you think?
That's very kind. Thank you.
It's also true.
So, David, tell us, what should people be expecting tonight?
So, well, Charlie, I just want to go back a bit to say that I feel a bit like a proud parent. I've been involved with this party since 2019. Many of you know I was an MEP in Brussels. I see Michael Heaver over here. He was an MEP with me. What we did, ladies and gentlemen, is we changed the course of British history. And what you can see is the Labour government trying to go back into the orbit of Brussels. That is not what we voted for. It is unacceptable, and we are here to stop that once and for all. Let me be very clear about that. But, you know, one of the things that I find extraordinary is that people keep saying, we've peaked. They said that when I was deputy leader, when we were at 2%, and then we were at 9%, then we were at 15%. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are at 30% across all national polls. So, as you rightly say, 75% of people here tonight are not members or supporters. They're people who want this country to be better. They want a better, more prosperous future for this country. And I think everyone in this country wants exactly the same. And so tonight, we are putting the case as to why Reform needs to get into government. We have been abjectly failed by the Conservative Party. The Labour Party is now on its 16th U-turn. It doesn't know whether it's coming or going. And I say this, and it's a big statement, but it is the last chance saloon for this once great country. Would you not agree? Charlie, can I just say thank you so much for what you did tonight. You were absolutely incredible. Ladies and gentlemen, Charlie Rowley. Well, a very good evening to you all, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dr. David Bull, as you may know, and I am very proud to be the chairman of Reform UK. And I'm really delighted to be here in Thurrock. This, ladies and gentlemen, as you may know, is Reform UK country. This is the capital of common sense. Actually, I don't think people know enough about the history of Thurrock. Humans have lived in this area since prehistoric times. The land here in Thurrock has been farmed by the Romans and also by the Anglo-Saxons. And Thurrock has always been a powerhouse and is home to critical industry, including Tilbury Docks. And in fact, I found this out today, the name Thurrock is a Saxon name meaning bottom of a ship. So it's clear to me that Thurrock has always had a very proud history, and let me be very clear about this. Under a Reform UK government, people here will always be at the heart of everything we at Reform UK do, and that is my pledge and promise to you. Now, politically, this is also a really fascinating area. This seat has constantly swung between the two major parties. But, ladies and gentlemen, the age of two-party politics is well and truly dead. Now, the latest polling here in Thurrock shows Reform UK, I told you the National was 30%. Reform UK here in Thurrock is on, wait for this, a walloping 43%. It gets better. That, ladies and gentlemen, is more than the Tories and Labour combined, by the way. And that also means, that the next election, both main parties will be smashed into oblivion, and I say, bring it on. So let's go back to tonight. It's so good to see so many of you here on a Wednesday. Some of you here tonight are supporters of the party. Some of you are members, but many of you, and I know this, have never had an affiliation with a political party. Some of you refuse to vote because you know you will be ignored, and I don't blame you. 72% of people in this area voted to leave the European Union. And the establishment, what did they do? They fought against you, and they continue to fight against you. They do not care what people like you think, and that is why they all need to be booted out of office right now, today, and I think you'll agree with that as well. I'm seeing people around the country venting anger and frustration. I've been around the whole of this country, actually. I've been on the road for the last 9 months. I have no life. I have seen over 7,000 people. People just like you. From Burnley to Sunderland, Penrith to Hull, from Wigan to Ipswich, Walsall to Aberdeen, and Llandudno to Preston. Now, across the country, and it doesn't really matter where I go, the message could not be clearer. This current government is the worst any of us have ever seen in our lifetimes, and I suggest that is a very low bar. Now, this government, I think it's also fair to say, is directionless, it's rudderless, it's devoid of principles, policies, it lacks any kind of coherence. And successive governments, both Tory, by the way, and Labour, promised to control immigration. They lied. They, both of them, promised your taxes wouldn't rise. They also lied. And they both promised the economy was safe in their hands. Guess what? They lied. And I've been thinking a great deal about this. Why is that? Why is that? And great countries like the United Kingdom need a great leader. What do we have? Keir Starmer. He is a failed human rights lawyer who prefers Davos to Devon. He is a man who languishes with a net approval rating of -47. In fact, actually, today, his approval rating is so bad that at this point, the taxman, rail replacement buses, and even the BBC are far more popular than the Prime Minister. This Labour government is out of ideas and out of time. They have absolutely no idea what they are doing. I mentioned this earlier, they're now on their 16th U-turn. They've trashed our economy and they've kicked businesses, particularly SMEs, small, medium enterprises, where it hurts. They've launched full frontal attacks on our farmers, on our industrial base, our pubs, people who work really, really hard, and worst of all for me as a medic, they have kicked our pensioners, and that is unacceptable. They have also... They've also presided over rocketing energy costs, worshipping on the altar of net zero, or as Richard calls it, net stupid zero. And in a really, really unstable world, they're giving away sovereign British territory, running down our armed forces and cozying up to China. It's embarrassing, it's unacceptable, and it is utter madness. Would you not agree? And unforgivably, they've allowed the illegal invasion of our country to continue unabated. Let me just tell you, 41,000 people came here illegally last year. 41,000. That is the second highest number of crossings ever recorded. And let me be very frank with you. Only a Reform UK government will stop this country being invaded once and for all. But you see, here's the problem. The government knows it is in deep trouble, and it's lashing out now, accusing Reform UK of wanting to privatise the NHS. You've heard it. You hear it all the time, don't you? Well, I'm a medical doctor. I'm also the person who wrote the policy on health. And let me tell you, it's a blatant lie. It smacks of desperation. And I want to be really clear for our candidates, for our councillors, for all of you who leave here tonight. Under a Reform UK government, the NHS will remain free at the point of need. But you see, this is the problem. Labour aren't the only liars in town. It was the Tories who betrayed our trust. And people I've spoken to around this country know that it was the Tories that actually broke Britain. The Tories, whilst they were in government, presided over record tax hikes, a cost of living crisis, austerity, and public service erosion. The Tories also bankrupted this country. They missed house building targets, and they betrayed Brexit, which I think is unacceptable. And the Tories also destroyed the NHS. And for me, as a medical doctor, they turned the country into a police state in the COVID pandemic. They consigned elderly people to die alone, frightened, and without family, and that is totally unacceptable and must never, ever happen again. It was the Tories, by the way, who were responsible for an open-door immigration policy. They let in nearly 150,000 illegal migrants, and under Boris Johnson, they allowed 3.8 million unskilled migrants legally into this country, and half of them will never work. Now, people around the country and here in Thurrock should never, ever forgive the Tories for what they did. So that really brings me to where we are now. I passionately believe, as you heard from Jamie as well earlier, that Reform UK is the last chance for this country. But I have some great news. We are the fastest growing political party in this country. We are now the largest political party in this country. And since I've been chairman and going around this country, round and round and round, we have gained 5,000 new members every single month of my tenure. We also won this seismic victory against the government who tried to cancel elections for 4.5 million people in this country. It was wrong, it was undemocratic, and thanks to the fight mounted by Reform UK, that wrong has been put right. We are allowing people to vote in their democratic elections, which is what this country was built on. We now have 8 members of Parliament. I count them every single week. I keep getting more. We're not stopping there. Now, people keep telling us, as I said right at the beginning, that we've peaked. Have you heard that? We've peaked. They told me that when we were at 2%. They told me that at 9% when I was deputy leader. And now, as I said, we're at 30% and growing every single week. It is utter fantasy. And just to give you some proof of that, we have led the last 250 opinion polls. And the latest polls have us on course to win a thumping parliamentary majority at the next general election, putting us into government. So the great news, a Reform UK government led by Nigel Farage himself. But there's some sad news. We would kick out big Labour figures. We would have to say goodbye to Angela Rayner. Yeah? Angela, you're gone. We would also have to say goodbye to Rachel Reeves. I know. Very sad. And my favourite of all, we'd have to say goodbye to Mad Ed Miliband. You're out. Make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, the future is bright, the future is turquoise. But there is work to be done. This can only happen with your help. This is your chance to be part of our movement and also to change British political history. You, every single one of you, really can make all the difference. We need you to support us, to become members, and most importantly, as you heard from the discussions with Charlie, we need you to put your names forward to stand for us at these elections in just 7 weeks' time. Just look at the difference people just like you have made across the country. In Staffordshire, Reform UK has saved 63 county farms from being sold. In Derbyshire, we have cleared that pothole backlog. You heard that earlier. We've gone from 17,000 potholes down to 0, and we did that in 10 months. And in West Northamptonshire, we served notice on all 3 asylum hotels in that area. And under a Reform UK government, every single asylum hotel will close permanently. And you also heard this, we mean business, and we have to prove ourselves in local government, and we are doing that because Reform UK councils have delivered and identified over £700 million in savings in local government in their first year. Reform UK councils have the lowest average council tax increase of any party, and unlike the failed establishment, we really are delivering for local people. So we bring it back to Thurrock. In 50 days, or thereabouts, on May the 7th, it's your opportunity to vote here in Thurrock. This is your chance to hit the government where it really hurts. This is your chance to show this government how angry you really are about what is going on in this country. And ladies and gentlemen, I urge you to do that by voting for Reform UK. Well, that brings me nicely to our first speaker tonight. He's a man who burst onto the political scene in the run-up to the last general election. He was actually my predecessor as chairman of Reform UK. He played a pivotal role in the party's huge success at last year's local elections. He is now Reform UK's Shadow Home Secretary. But before we meet him, let's see him in action.
We have all the momentum in British politics, and we are just getting started. Working people in Britain feel betrayed. They see the nation and the culture that we love being robbed from underneath them. 1 in every 25 people in Britain today arrived in the last 5 years. Britain has been overwhelmed by immigration, both legal and illegal. We will secure our borders. We will deport people who are in this country illegally. We will keep British people safe. Nigel Farage, as our Prime Minister, will make Britain poised, proud, prosperous and powerful. And we will leave a Britain for our children of which we can be proud. Thank you very much, Reform UK.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my colleague Zia Yusuf.
Reform UK and Thurrock? Are you having a good night? Very good. Well, I want to start by taking a moment to appreciate you. Appreciate what we have achieved together. Think back to the 3rd of June 2024. It was a quite lovely summer morning, and Nigel Farage tweeted that he was about to make an emergency announcement. He stood before the nation's media and announced his candidacy to be the Member of Parliament for Clacton-on-Sea. And he announced that he would return to lead Reform UK. Back then, the bookies gave him a mere 30% chance of becoming the next MP for Clacton. Fast forward to today. Look around you. Look what we have achieved together. Reform has hundreds of thousands of members. We built almost 500 branches across this great country. We made history, sweeping the board in the local elections last May, and now have almost 1,000 Reform councillors. We've led 250 national polls in a row. And ladies and gentlemen, Nigel Farage is the bookmakers' favourite to be the next Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. But look, I've got to be honest. We gather at a dark time for our country. For years, the Tory Labour Uni Party has looked the other way while the very fabric of our society has been under attack. We've been told that we should just accept open borders, accept that a country that spends £60 billion a year on defence should just stand powerless as men arrive in small boats day after day, that we should just accept it as our streets change beyond recognition, as knife crime rises and the traditions and culture of Britain are steadily, heartbreakingly eroded. But I want to say to you today, these things are not inevitable. They are the deliberate choices of weak men and weak women who lack the courage, lack the spine, and lack the moral clarity to defend the country they were elected to serve. Well, here's the thing. I don't accept this. Nigel Farage does not accept this. And I know you do not accept this. And that is why a Reform government will end it. Look, we all know it's time to dispatch the political class. We know how hopeless Starmer and Labour are, but it was the Tories that ravaged this country. They promised to cut immigration in 4 consecutive manifestos. And what did they do instead? They shipped in 12 million people and built just 482 prison places and left the country with fewer hospital beds. They took back control of our borders and then threw them open. The Boris wave of millions of migrants from non-EU countries, 80% of whom came on non-work visas, will cost the British people over £100 billion in the years to come. They smuggled in tens of thousands of Afghans at a cost of tens of billions and took out a super injunction to hide it from us. This was the greatest betrayal of the British people in our lifetimes. The Tories deserve eternal infamy and extinction. And make no mistake, that is exactly what we will deliver them. The system is so broken in this country, so morally bankrupt, that committing serious, violent crimes improves a foreign national's likelihood of being granted asylum here. I want to say that again. Committing brutal crimes against British people makes it easier for migrants to stay in Britain. Now look, there are countless examples of this. A Zimbabwean paedophile jailed for horrific child sex offences was allowed to stay because judges cited Article 3 of the ECHR. They argued he would face hostility in his home country as a gay man. An Albanian drug lord jailed for running an illicit drugs factory avoided deportation after judges ruled under Article 8 of the ECHR that kicking him out would deprive his daughter of a male role model. Think about the moral sickness of that decision. A convicted drug kingpin held up as an essential protected role model by British judges. Then there was a Ugandan gang member who clubbed a man to death in the back of an ambulance, a man who received a life sentence for murder, a man who successfully won the right to stay in Britain to protect his mental health. His lawyers successfully used Article 3 of the ECHR to argue it would be inhumane to send him back to a country with poorer mental health facilities than the NHS. This barbarian took a life, and the British taxpayers are now forced to cater for his mental wellness. How many more British people must die at the hands of those who should never have been in our country in the first place? I want to promise you this. When Nigel Farage becomes our Prime Minister, gone will be the days when your rights are trampled in service of foreign citizens. Never again will British people be second-class citizens in their own country. Under a reform government, His Majesty's Parliament will be sovereign, and the rights of the great British people will reign supreme. And a reform government led by Nigel will also confront the truth that our country is being invaded. And I know many in the establishment gasp at that word. They clutch their pearls in the television studios. But the dictionary definition of invasion is an incursion by a large number of people in an unwanted way. Almost 200,000 people have broken into our country across the English Channel over the last 8 years. That's more than stormed the beaches of Normandy on D-Day. So please make no mistake. As Home Secretary, I will end and reverse this invasion, because the patience of the British people is exhausted. We're simply no longer willing to accept that our borders should remain open and undefended, unwilling to accept that we must surrender our sovereignty to foreign courts. This is a national security emergency. So it's time to put British people first. That's why, upon winning the next election, a reform government will launch an unprecedented emergency program to track down, detain, and deport all illegal migrants in the United Kingdom. Operation Restoring Justice will be, I think, the most transformative policy of our lifetimes. Now, shrill voices in the media have already called our plan draconian. My response is simple. Britain's being invaded. Tens of thousands of military-aged men continue to arrive on our beaches illegally. Our plan is the only appropriate response to a national security emergency. And we will immediately stop those boats coming by sending a crystal clear message that being in our country illegally now has an ironclad consequence: immediate detention and removal. Deportation is the ultimate deterrent. And as Prime Minister, Nigel will direct every instrument of state to ensure illegal migrants are removed from this country. We will pass the Illegal Migration Mass Deportation Act. And the draftsmen who are drafting this legislation, they were given a crystal clear instruction that when Nigel is Prime Minister, there will not be a judge in the country that will be able to prevent a single deportation flight from leaving. We will create a legal obligation for the Home Secretary to deport all those in this country illegally and disapply every international treaty that is used to keep illegal migrants in this country. We will pass a law that makes clear that if you come to this country illegally, you will never be granted asylum. End of story. We're going to create a new agency, UK Deportation Command, and they will have one mission, to relentlessly track down, detain and deport all those in this country illegally. We will embark on the most audacious charter flight operation since World War II. We will ramp deportation flights to 5 departures every day. And to guarantee success, His Majesty's Royal Air Force will keep a Voyager aircraft on standby as a hot spare. So even if a plane has mechanical issues, flights will not be stopped. Deportations will not be delayed. Return agreements will be secured. Countries of origin will take back their nationals. And if a country refuses, we will stop issuing visas to that country. And that's why, as Home Secretary, I will immediately cease the issuance of visas for countries including Sudan, Somalia, Eritrea, Syria, Afghanistan, and Pakistan. Because this is about the very soul of our nation. For centuries, Britain has proudly been a high-trust culture. British people looked out for their neighbours. They respected the law, not out of fear, but out of a shared sense of civic duty. But as untold numbers from low-trust cultures with entirely different values have imported into our country, that precious, fragile trust is breaking down. Look at the indignities we now face. Northamptonshire police had to give a presentation to illegal migrants, who were, by the way, sitting comfortably in a taxpayer-funded hotel, having to explain to grown men that women have equal rights to men in Britain. That presentation, delivered by the police, implored the illegal migrants to only walk on the pavement and warned them that human rights exist in this country. They had to inform them that committing crimes may affect their asylum applications. May affect their asylum applications. The fact that any of this is necessary is a national outrage. It tragically encapsulates the stupidity of allowing people into this country whose values are fundamentally and, yes, sometimes violently at odds with ours. Reform values the traditions that built this nation, and we will never apologize for our history. We'll defend our culture, because a nation without a culture is not a nation. It's just an economic zone, a shopping mall with a flag waiting to be exploited. And that's why we will protect the Christian heritage of Britain. We will end the incendiary practice of converting churches into mosques, and I'm proud to announce that a Reform government will immediately grant listed status to all churches in this country and create a new use category for Christian places of worship. And we're going to ensure that these historic pillars of our communities can never be converted into places of worship for any other faith. And a Reform government will also do something that manifold governments from the past refused to do, Tory and Labour. We will run an accelerated inquiry through a committee in Parliament to get to the bottom of the despicable crimes of the rape gangs that have terrorised young girls in this country for decades. And you'd better believe we will leave no stone unturned to ensure justice for the victims and their families. We will ensure that the demonic perpetrators and the officials who enabled them are brought to justice and are made to pay a heavy price for their crimes. Now, having built and run a successful business, I know that, look, people respond to incentives. Human beings respond to incentives. And for too long, witless politicians have created the incentive for people to come to Britain and take advantage of the goodwill of the lovely British people. British taxpayer funds should be spent exclusively for the benefit of British people. The British welfare state should be available exclusively for the British people. And it is a slap in the face to every working man and woman in this country that British taxpayers have been forced to spend £15 billion in universal credit welfare payments to foreign households in the last 18 months alone. Just think of the state-of-the-art hospitals that money could have built. The thousands of police it could have put on our streets. The tax cuts it could have delivered you, British families. Well, we will stop this hemorrhage of our national wealth. A reform government will immediately terminate welfare payments to foreign nationals. Now, they say that politics is about choices. Have you heard that phrase? Well, I agree. And so I want to put our cards on the table. If you ask a reform government to choose between the safety of our women and girls and an international treaty, to choose between a secure border and an international treaty, to choose between a sovereign United Kingdom and an international treaty, then we choose security, we choose sovereignty, we will protect, and yes, we will defend our women and girls. To hell with your international treaty. And I want to close by saying thank you to all of you. We have already made history together. We've already defied the odds together, defeated many enemies together. And all this is because of you. The path ahead remains long and treacherous. The attacks from all angles are only going to grow. But we need your help to ensure that we have a full slate of candidates for the local elections here in May, just a few weeks' time. And this is your chance to join us in the cockpit, to chart a course with us to save our country. So if you're interested, please see one of our team as you leave tonight. And I want to promise you this: if we stay the course, if we stick together, if we find it in ourselves to rise and master this moment, then we will sweep the board again in May, win the next general election, and together we will change the course of British history. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.
Fantastic stuff. Thank you very much indeed, Zia. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us very nicely to our final speaker. Who could that possibly be? No. He's a man not afraid of a political fight. He is a man who took on NatWest and he won. He took on YouGov and he won. And at the next general election, he will take on the establishment, and guess what? He will win. Soon, ladies and gentlemen, he will make British history when he becomes the next British Prime Minister. So now, let's remind you of his best bits.
We are all ships rising on a turquoise tide, headed towards winning the next general election. This government is deep in crisis. They are not fit to govern. The Conservative Party are riven. There is a new, strong, unified party, the party that stands up for decent, working people, and we are the party on the rise. The energy has been unbelievable. The enthusiasm has been extraordinary. You are the People's Army.
Reform is now in government. And the big shout-out message, and it's very, very clear, is if you vote reform, you get reform. And when it comes to country, of what a nation is, this is where I do personally want to confront the Prime Minister head on.
No one cares more about the state of this country than I do.
There is nobody more determined than me.
But I tell you what, folks, that was just the beginning. Thank you very much indeed. Good evening, Thurrock! I don't need any encouragement, believe you me. On the 7th of May, there will be elections in Thurrock. There will be elections in Southend-on-Sea. There'll be elections in Basildon, in Brentwood, in Colchester, in Epping, in Harlow. Oh dear. In Rochford, and all 78 seats on Essex County Council. And do you know why these elections will take place on the 7th of May? Because they were all going to be cancelled at the connivance of a Labour government, of Tory-led councils. And in the case of Essex, of course, they delayed the elections last year and they tried to do it again this year. And I thought to myself, no taxation without representation. Why should you pay council tax? So we took the government to court and they collapsed like a deck of cards, and 5 million people across Britain will have their democratic rights restored on the 7th of May because of what we did, and I'm proud of that. Very proud of that. We have had, over the last few years, simply the worst set of leaders we've ever had in the history of these islands. Can you believe 6 prime ministers in the course of 8 years? A Conservative government with a majority that betrayed pretty much every single promise they made. And if you thought that was bad, then we got Keir Starmer. Incapable of standing up and delivering a speech without constantly referring to notes or a pre-prepared statement. The man doesn't know his own mind. And I remember the day after he won the election, he stood on the lectern outside Downing Street. At least it wasn't raining as it was when Rishi called the election. And he kept looking down at his notes. And like a pigeon in Trafalgar Square. I'm going to keep doing that, I like that. In a 9-minute speech, he looked at his notes 158 times. Literally, the man is not a leader, he's a follower, and I believe he is the least patriotic Prime Minister we have ever had in the history of our island. Now, I have been warning for at least 25 years that uncontrolled mass migration into Britain is dangerous. That if people don't assimilate and don't become part of our communities, I've always believed we were stirring up problems for the future. Well, now we're here. Have a look at this short clip. This is what happened in Trafalgar Square on Monday. That was Trafalgar Square on Monday. We are a country that has always believed in religious tolerance and freedom. You can think of communities that have come and settled here, the Jewish community, who have their own private observance, but integrate with the rest of us in their everyday, normal lives. We've always been tolerant. Always been tolerant. What you just witnessed there is banned in the United Arab Emirates, and many other parts of the Muslim Far East and North Africa. We still haven't prescribed the Muslim Brotherhood, which many of the Arab states do, and still the murderous Iranian IRGC, who are currently launching rockets all over the Middle East, including at British RAF bases, have still not been prescribed. What we witnessed on Monday in London, in the historic Trafalgar Square, in a country that was based and built on Judeo-Christian values, because that's at the bottom of everything this country's ever been. What we witnessed there was a group of people headed up by the ghastly Sadiq Khan, attempting dominance over our capital city and over our culture. And what do we get today? At Prime Minister's questions, the PM defended what happened in Trafalgar Square and said that anybody that stands out and speaks against it is a bigot. Well, I'm sorry, Prime Minister. I'm sorry, the Conservative Party that let most of these people in. We are not going to surrender everything that was built over centuries, defended at a cost of great blood in 2 world wars, for us to be a free, independent nation. We will not put up with this anymore. Simple as. And just to realise how bad things have got, the strength of these islands was built on the Royal Navy. Edward VIII cut down the entire New Forest to build it. And now, 18 days after an RAF base, which is sovereign British territory in Cyprus, with our men and women stationed there, 18 days after it came under attack from Iranian rockets, well, the Greeks sent a naval vessel to support us. Even the French sent a naval vessel to support us. 18 days later, one Royal Navy Type 45 has made it as far as Gibraltar. This is utter humiliation on the world stage. We have rendered ourselves utterly defenceless. Our Prime Minister has managed to fall out with the American president. All right, he might not always be the easiest person. He's a friend of mine, but we've managed to fall out with the Americans, without whom we are literally rendered defenceless. We have been badly led. This country is going down the drain. You know it, I know it, the vast majority of people out there know it, and that is why 20 months ago I came out of pretty comfortable semi-retirement to come back into politics and to fight back, because I believe there is a silent majority of people in this country who still value and regard the values that they understood as they grew up, and who are prepared. I hope enough of you are prepared to stand up, to fight for what is right, and to win back the integrity and decency for which this country has always been known. Today, 260 young men crossed the English Channel in small boats. We're now nearly 200,000 young men that have crossed the English Channel, who throw their iPhones and their passports into the sea of a 12-mile line, so we simply can't identify who they are or what they are. Many of them have come from war zones in which they've been brutalized. Too many of them support ideologies that are completely against everything that our culture in this nation is. And a huge number of them come from communities and come from cultures in which women aren't even second-class citizens. And that is why you get incidents such as that happened at the Bell Hotel in Epping last year. It's disgusting, it's unacceptable, and it has to stop. It has to stop. Let me make it clear, under a reform government, if you come into this country or you have come into this country illegally, we will, by leaving the ECHR, which prevents this from happening, if you come here illegally or you are here illegally, under a reform government, you will be deported, full stop. But our decline is not just societal. Law and order. You can now go shoplifting if you want. Up to 200 quid a day. It's not a bad deal, I suppose, in some ways, is it? Can you believe that? You can nick up to 200 quid of the stuff and not get prosecuted. Well, if you allow that kind of behaviour to happen, is it any surprise that the levels of crime escalate? We are going to fight a tough campaign, and we will take on, Layla Cunningham will take on, as our candidate, Sadiq Khan in London in 2 years' time. On a law and order ticket. We've got to get back the safety of our streets. A capital city in which men don't dare wear watches anymore, in which women can't wear jewellery, is simply not acceptable. But we also have financial problems. Our growth figures for the last 9 months have been just above zero. We are getting poorer. And those figures are only marginally up because mass migration makes the size of the economy bigger. Wealth per individual has fallen over the last 2 years. Bills have gone up, and you all know it. And let me just tell you this. We as a party are on the side of alarm clock Britain. We're on the side of people who get up in the morning, who go to work, who pay their taxes, and see their neighbours get up at midday, get a bit of Deliveroo in, smoke dope for the afternoon. And frankly, it is just not acceptable that vast numbers of people of working age who could and should be working are being signed off on the sick. Do you know you can actually get signed off with mild anxiety? I have mild anxiety every single morning. So we've got to be on the side of working people. And we've got to be on the side of small businesses. 5.7 million of them. And what do we do? What do we do? We put their corporation tax up. The Tories did it by 30%. We now are making even the self-employed file online tax returns 4 times a year. We've increased the minimum wage for young people to a level where more and more young people are now not employed, and we've absolutely hit them with employers' national insurance. It is the private sector that are bearing the cost of all of this, whilst the public sector bears none of the pain. And I know that here in Thurrock and across this county, it is full of hard-working men and women, many of whom have got their own businesses, many of whom act as sole traders. Believe you me, we are on your side, not on the side of those who choose not to work and through the massive, massive bills we're facing are frankly bankrupting the country. If you work, we're on your side, I promise you. Now, I had a Prime Minister's question today in the House of Commons. I mean, not much point, really, because he never answers anything. But I made the point today that in the last year, the Norwegians, who own the other half of the North Sea to us, in the last year, the Norwegians have launched 49 new drill sites for oil and gas. 49 out of a planned 250 over the course of the next few years. Anyone here have a guess how many new drill sites the British have launched in the last year? It's a big fat zero. So we rely on importing gas from Norway, Qatar, America, and we actually have a national strategic reserve of 2 days of gas. 2 days of gas. Already we've seen that oil is not moving freely in the Straits of Hormuz. We're living in a very uncertain world. So I said to the Prime Minister, wouldn't it make more sense, rather than importing gas and importing oil, wouldn't it make more sense to produce our own oil, our own gas, to be self-sufficient, to create thousands, maybe tens of thousands of well-paid jobs, to get more tax revenue for the Exchequer, and to bring down the price of energy for every domestic household in Britain? Answer, I got none. Because they've all given up on God. They all now believe in global warming. And that somehow a country that produces less than 1% of global CO2 is somehow, by committing economic harry-carry, by having the most expensive energy prices in the world, as we witness deindustrialization of our steel plants, our cement works, our chemical plants, our refineries, all these jobs going off to other parts of the world. And it makes no difference, because all we're exporting is CO2 emissions. Because the steel gets made in India and the product shipped back to us. Net zero has put fortunes on your domestic energy bills. Net zero is deindustrializing Britain. The net zero policy is making no difference at all to global climate change, and we will scrap all false subsidies for net zero on your bills. So let's talk a bit about the worst run council in Britain ever. It's got to be, no, it's not even Birmingham. Even though the rats are as big as cats these days up there. Thurrock Borough Council has to have been, in the last decade, the worst council in the whole of England. And what happened? They believed in net zero. So they lost hundreds of millions of pounds on a solar project in East Anglia, with this council now burdened with debt and rapidly rising council tax. By the way, I can't see why we're covering up good agricultural land with these ghastly contraptions, all made in China. I'd rather farmers farmed. So Thurrock Borough Council is up. There are 57 council seats up for grabs. If we win this council seat, 7th of May, keep up with the main party, come on. I don't know, tell me, do you think we can win Thurrock? Yes! Well, good. We promise, in line with our other councils in the country, we will find excessive waste. Similarly, with Essex County Council, I was asked by the BBC today, I suspect GB News is more popular here than the BBC. God, aren't the BBC awful? I was asked by the BBC today, but Mr Farage, if you win Essex County Council, you know, there's a threat that people might lose their jobs. There are lots of people working in County Hall in DEI. What would you say to them? Look for a new job's what I said. We're just not going to have that. We believe in meritocracy. We believe in people getting on according to their own abilities and their own level of hard work and dedication. And we don't really care what religion you are, what colour you are, what sexual orientation you are. What we care about is that you speak our language, you are part of our country, you respect our culture, and then you can reach the very best that you can achieve. And all of this quotas, it's all going to go out of the window. All of it. Now, this is a big push. Essex is a big push. Thurrock is a big push. And Essex, of course, is very important for the Conservative Party because among the MPs they have here, of course, there is the leader, Kemi Badenoch. Yeah, I know, it doesn't register, does it? No, but it doesn't register. It's very interesting. Priti Patel, James Cleverly from Braintree. I can't work it out, but there we are. Rising star Alex Berger, John Whittingdale, former cabinet minister. Essex is really the bedrock of the shadow cabinet. If we beat the Conservatives and win Essex County Council, people will see and will know that Reform genuinely has the momentum to go on and to win the next general election. But we need to win Thurrock. We need to win Thurrock, and I'm pleased tonight to announce a defector. Whoa. Councillor Tom Kelly is a Conservative councillor in Thurrock. He represents the Little Thurrock Rectory ward. He's been a councillor since 2011. He's joining our Thurrock team today. He brings with him great experience. He also brings with him knowledge of where it all went wrong and what we need to do to try and start putting it right. And I want to welcome Councillor Tom Kelly to the stage.
Cheers, Nigel. Thanks so much. Thanks for the opportunity. Good. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for that warm welcome. I've had the privilege now of being a councillor here in Thurrock for the last 10 years. And what I've witnessed as a local councillor is seismic change in British politics. No longer can the two-party system of old be relied on. And quite frankly, your votes can no longer be taken for granted. Reform is, of course, a positive movement. What you want is secure borders, lower energy prices, and you back business. So that's why I've made the decision today to leave the Conservative Party and join the Reform Party. Thank you. Thank you. As Nigel says, together we must get our economy growing again, especially here in Thurrock. Thurrock is a proud borough with great heritage, manufacturing, port logistics, and it's for this reason that Thurrock seems to be on the back foot of many of Labour's ludicrous net zero policies. So, thank you all today for your warm welcome. I'm really looking forward to working with this great team, and the fight starts today with the local elections coming up. 7th of May, let's make sure that the residents here in Thurrock make the right decision. Let's hope they vote Reform. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you. Nigel, thank you so much. Really appreciate that, brother. You all right?
OK. I am making a huge sacrifice. I don't need to do this, but I'm doing it because I want to put my country back on track. And all over the country, on May the 7th, thousands and thousands of ordinary folk will put their heads over the parapet and stand for reform in those elections. Our membership is now the biggest of any party in the country. We are building a people's army, but we need to build it more, we need to build it bigger, we need to build it stronger. Whilst we do have a full slate of candidates here in Thurrock, any of you that put your names there at the back, we might need a reserve or two, you just never know. But I would urge those of you in the audience, the vast majority of you, who are not members of our party, you've come along, I guess because you're curious, or in the case of quite a few here, used to work with me in the city a few years ago. Well, I say work, I mean... wasn't much happened after lunch back in the 80s, but never mind. But I would say to all of you, if you've come along tonight, you've seen who we are, what we are, what we're fighting for, what we're trying to achieve, just how important this is. Otherwise, what kind of future? What kind of future will it be like in 2 or 3 generations' time if we don't arrest this surrender to values that have nothing to do with our country? We've got to stand up and fight. We really have. So I'd urge you, come and join us. It's 25 quid. Be part of the People's Army. Eulogise on our behalf. Put your name forward if you feel that way to stand as a candidate. And I do believe we can win, don't you? Yes. Good. Well, I'm going to ask to be joined on the stage now by those people, those brave men and women who've put their names forward to be candidates for this party in Thurrock. If you please come and join me. And good for all of them. There's a lot of them. Just bear with us for a moment. And bear in mind what's happening here has never happened before in the history of British politics. A two-party system that has been in place since the end of the First World War, that no one ever thought could be broken. And our intention is to break it. And folks, I think we are breaking it, don't you? Yes. And you know why? The reason we're doing it, the reason it's working, just get on with it. The reason it's working is there's one four-letter word, and it's hope. We are bringing hope because we've got the guts, we've got the courage to stand up and confront a political class that have let us down so terribly over the years. And you know something? I'll finish with this. Come on, stop nattering, just get on with it. We may represent the last chance this country has got to get itself back on track. If we don't succeed, this place could be like the third world within 10 or 15 years. And I know that's a very, very strong statement, but folks, I believe that absolutely in my heart. I believe the stakes could not be higher for everything this country has ever been and everything we aspire it to be, not just for today, but for those that come after us. And whilst we like to have a laugh and a joke and a bit of fun, this is deadly serious. You all know it, don't you? You all know it in your hearts. This is deadly serious. So whatever you can do to help these men and women, whatever you can do to help me in this run-up to May the 7th, in our attempt to completely rewrite the political history of our country, would be greatly, greatly appreciated. Thank you for coming tonight and filling the circus tavern. Thank you. Come back. Yeah, that's right. Right on him. Very good. Well, thank you all. Give it up. Very good. Right, Kat. It's not bad, is it? There you are. It was worth being a candidate, wasn't it? Thank you, everybody!